MI6 says CABAL could collapse within 3 months. There's a very real chance that Khazarian CABAL will collapse over the next 3 months, and alternative power structures need to be made ready in time for that, according to British MI6 intelligence sources. The trigger is expected to be arrest of senior cabalists in the US starting in October, the sources say. Pentagon sources for the part said, the cable has been deaf and blind for over 2 weeks, so big things should happen after Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court confirmation. Kavanaugh is supposed to be confirmed after Yom Kippur on September 20, and on the same day US President Donald Trump may send texts to all cell phones to reach even more people than Twitter. Furthermore, the sources say FEMA will also test the emergency broadcast system on all televisions, so this, when combined with wireless text alerts, will allow Trump to spread real news in real time and drop truth bombs. The exact nature of what will be told to the American people through the emergency broadcast system is not yet clear. However, last week representatives of the Swiss banking noms in Zurich, the Russian FSB, MI6, the Japanese royal family, and an Asian secret society all contacted the White Dragon Society last week. The fact that these sources, many of whom had ceased contact since the March 11, 2011 Fukushima nuclear and tsunami terrorist attack, suddenly popped out of the woodwork is the clear indication something huge is about to happen. CIA sources connected to the secret bases in Antarctica say the sudden surge of activity in the intelligence community was relating to a sudden closure last week of 7 solar observatories. In particular, the sources say Solar Observatory in Sunspot, New Mexico, has been observing the sun since the Roswell incident. They belong to a special off-the-grid group known as the Watchers. There are several of these special observatories strategically placed around the planet. They all find photos and video recordings of the Wingmaker ships coming through the sun, as well as the big ships coming through as part of the Galactic Federation's Observe and Assist Humanity mandate. The cable deep state is backed up against the wall. They are grasping for feathers now. They went in and grabbed everything out of fear and panic. Gag orders have been issued. We don't know the final play yet. This may turn against them and be used as the main act of the disclosure event. The MI6 source said the observatories were shut down because they wanted to carry out a more orderly disclosure process in order not to cause panic or misunderstanding among the surface population. In any case, this may relate to a huge surge in UFO sightings around the planet recently. There has also been an unprecedented increase in tropical storm activity coming up that may be related to unusual solar activity. Last week, the entire region of the tropics was covered in belt of storms, 7 of which were big enough to be named. It is very interesting that, for the first time, the Swiss bankers in Zurich had decided to send an emissary to meet the White Dragon Society. Vincenzo Mazzara and Leo Zagami of P2 Freemason Lodge previously told this writer that they took orders from aliens based in Switzerland headed by an entity known as the Black Sun. The Swiss representative acknowledged that their leadership had been taking orders from the Black Sun in that it communicated with them through gamma rays. At this point, readers who are accustomed to this report, sticking to the real-world issues, are probably shaking their heads and wondering if somebody got to us. The answer is that the forensic trail followed from primary sources like David Rockefeller, the Rothschild, the British royal family, Asian secret societies, and etc., all point to some sort of control grid on this planet that is headquartered in Switzerland. It may well be that all of this woo-woo space stuff is just smoke and mirrors designed to hide a small cable of old men. Several sources say they are elders of Zion, from the prying eyes of the slave population they have been ruling over for so long. So, returning to strictly here and now Earth issues, we can report that representatives from banking families in Zurich, MI6, the Pentagon, the CIA, the Asian secret societies, and the Russian FSB all told the White Dragon Society that they support staging a massive multi-trillion-dollar campaign and end poverty and stop environmental destruction. To make this possible, though, the cable has to be completely removed from power. So let us get back to the latest developments on that front. In the US, the takedown of CBS chief Les Movies may have spooked the Zionists, as his great-uncle was Israel's first Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion, Pentagon sources note. Ben-Gurion has been fingered by newly declassified documents as the person who ordered the assassination of John Kennedy. So maybe now, CBS will report this to remaining audience who still believe in the corporate media. Furthermore, the sources continue. The Trump executive order to sanction foreign election interference is targeting Israel more than Russia or the UK, because Israel interferes in US elections. The Pentagon is upset with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for openly backing Mitt Romney in 2012 and Hillary Clinton in 2016. The interference, they say, take place via financier cutouts like Hayam Sabin for the Democrats and Sheldon Adelson for GOP. Furthermore, the sources say Hollywood, Wall Street, Silicon Valley, the Fifth Column fundraiser had also been supporting stills in Democrats like Senators Tom Cotton, Chuck Schumer, and John McCain. In addition, the Trump trade war with China has the benefit of weakening Wall Street, since any bank or banker like Jamie Dimon who lobbies for China may be prosecuted for being an unregistered foreign agent, or worse, the sources warn. The MI6 people, for their part, think their worst enemy is the European Union and the black nobility that own it. They say German Chancellor Angela Merkel should be made to pay compensation to countries like Poland and Hungary for what her bloodline did to them. It's very interesting in this context, then, to hear that Russian FSB has been negotiating recently with the Knights of Malta, who are in many ways the military arm of the Peter Freemason nurses that controls the EU. We are assuming that they are looking for protection against the impending Anglo-Saxon quest of justice. The other people that FSB has recently been doing work for are the Saudi royals. The FSB source would not say exactly what they did recently for the Saudis, other than to note that it was intense and involved over 100 agents. Since the Russian Orthodox Church has previously declared a hologram against the radical Islam, the following article discussing plans to executive senior Warhab /Hicks may be related. The other probably related event has been that Russian Orthodox Church is having a schism with the Orthodox Church in Muslim-occupied Constantinople over its support of the Nazi-occupied regime in Ukraine. Remember, the Russians have been rivals to the Ottoman Turks and the Germans for centuries. Also, the Nazis were responsible for creating the Muslim Brotherhood and radical Islam as a way of undermining Anglo-French rule of the Middle East, according to MI6 and CIA sources. Something is also happening in Japan that could lead to regime change. It turns out that Japan's government was pumping carbon dioxide into the ground near the epicenter of the recent devastating earthquake in Hokkaido. In other words, a slave government operating within the unscientific Khazarian mafia carbon dioxide causes global warming, paradism, trigger an earthquake by injecting 150,000 tons of carbon into the ground. This is all over the Japanese internet, but of course, the corporate media remains silent. Nonetheless, stupid moves like this are contributing to the emerging consensus among right-wing power brokers that the Bank of Japan needs to be nationalized. This would remove a major source of funding for the Khazarian mafia. This would also mean an automatic end to the slave regime in Japan. As the Khazarian mafia loses power around the world, it is urgent that the various rebel factions fighting for planetary liberation start making concrete plans for a smooth transition. The White Dragon Society believes such a transition will require the announcement of a jubilee followed by a massive campaign to fix up the planet. Also, while the White Dragon Society supports a South African-style Truth and Reconciliation Committee. It looks like many of the Khazarian Mafia crimes have been so horrific that war crimes tribunals are inevitable. Let us see what October brings.